In the low-lying fields of Bengal, where the Padma River winds like a silver snake across the fertile land, there lived a humble farmer named Ramiz Ali. His family had tilled the same patch of soil for generations, growing rice, jute, and pulses, the lifeblood of his village. But everything changed the day the British indigo planters came. Ramiz first heard whispers of Neel Chash, the cultivation of indigo, from passing traders at the weekly Haat market. The white sahibs had arrived in Dhaka and Rajshahi, building their factories or kuthis and spreading their blue dye empire. The British didn't grow the crops themselves. They relied on ryots like Ramiz, native peasants, to do their bidding. One misty morning, a man in fine clothes rode into the village. He was Mr. Cunningham, a British planter with piercing gray eyes and a smooth tongue. Behind him was the Bengali Gomasta, a local agent named Shivnath, who smiled like a snake. They came with a contract, deceptively simple, yet binding like shackles. "You will grow indigo for the factory," Shivnath said, handing over a paper Ramiz couldn't read. "The company will pay in advance." The sum they offered was tempting, more than Ramiz had seen in a year. His family was drowning in debt after a poor rice harvest. Reluctantly, he dipped his thumb in ink and pressed it to the paper. That decision changed his life. Indigo, or Neela, was a crop that bled the land dry. It drained the soil, leaving it barren for food crops. Worse, it was labor-intensive, and the company paid a pittance. The promised fair price never came. When Ramiz tried to grow rice again, he was told he had no choice. He had to grow indigo. When he refused, the threats began. Shivnath's hired men came in the night, trampling his vegetable patch, poisoning his well, beating his younger brother. The local zamindar, himself in league with the British, turned a blind eye. They own the land now. Grow what they ask, or leave. By 1858, Ramiz's village, once green with paddy, had turned blue with indigo. The air stank of the fermenting vats. Children fell sick. Hunger spread. The villagers gathered under the banyan tree and whispered rebellion. That same year, they heard about revolts, not just from sepoys in the north during the failed mutiny of 1857, but from farmers like them. In Barasat, Jessore, and other districts, ryots had begun to refuse the indigo contracts. They called it the Indigo Revolt. Ramiz, though fearful, decided to join. He and other farmers organized secret meetings. They began to openly defy the British agents. When the Gomasta came to collect signatures, they chased him out. Women threw bricks from rooftops. Farmers armed with sickles stood guard at night. Mr. Cunningham sent armed guards, but the villages stood firm. "We would rather die than see our land bleed blue," Ramiz shouted at a gathering. Then came the retaliation. One night, Ramiz's hut was set ablaze. His wife, Nazima, saved their 2 children, but his elderly father perished in the flames. The British accused native unrest, but the villagers knew it was vengeance. Ramiz fled to the nearby town of Krishnanagar, where a few Bengali lawyers and reformists had taken up the riot's cause. One such man was Harish Chandra Mukherjee, a journalist who ran a newspaper called Hindu Patriot. Ramiz told his story, and soon his words echoed across Calcutta. Pressure mounted on the British administration. An official indigo commission was formed in 1860 to investigate the abuses. For the first time, Akhtar stood before colonial officials and spoke the truth of threats, starvation, exploitation, and lost dignity. The commission's report shocked the empire. It stated plainly that not a chest of indigo reached England without being stained with human blood. By 1861, the system of forced indigo cultivation began to crumble. Many British planters abandoned their factories. The ryots, emboldened, returned to growing food for their families. But the land never forgot the blood that had seeped into its roots. Ramiz returned to his village, a changed man. The fields slowly turned green again. He rebuilt his home, stone by stone. And though the scars of the blue years lingered, he taught his children to read, something he had never been allowed. And though the scars of the blue years lingered, so did the lesson, that even the smallest farmer, when united with others, could shake an empire. The Indigo Revolt, 1859-60, was a real movement in Bengal. Led by riots and supported by intellectuals, it marked one of the earliest mass uprisings against British economic exploitation in India. Though the revolt was non-violent, it was a major step toward India's eventual struggle for independence.